right. Good evening, traders. Let's do a brief audio and visual check. You guys can see I'm Coach Dakota, Coach DBA, and over here on my left or right, for my left, your guys' right, is Coach Jay. How are you, Coach Jay?
Doing good, Coach Dakota. How are you, man?
Good.
Sounds good to me over here.
It's been one heck of a day in the markets in terms of volatility. Where's this market going? We were discussing a few things in the green room, but you have a trade going on. Let's talk about that one.
Yes, I do. I am long a couple micro gold here from 29.30. 29.30. Trying to decide whether or not I like this. I'm going to wait for this half an hour candle to kind of play out. Basically, I had the 30-minute opening range for the Globex session. VWAP looking like it wanted to leave that range. It didn't really leave. So anyone who joins at the buzzer knows that I'm going to say that I preempted this trade because we didn't really get a confirmation. So I'm going to wait for this half an hour. If this half hour candle closes within this range, then I'll just close out this trade. But risking about 2 ATRs on the 30-minute chart, looking for a 2-to-1 trade. So risking about 10 points to make 20, and we'll see how it plays out. But if it, again, if this 30-minute candle closes inside this range or below it, I'll just take the trade off before it hits that stop.
Well, if it's long gold, I like it, Coach Jay. Now, before we get too far and deep, in the YouTube chat, there's our Top Step risk disclosure. You guys know everything that we say and talk about and any trades that you see us take for educational purposes only. Now, that being said, lately, Coach Jay, when I've been starting my slow markets class at 7:30 p.m. Central, we've seen gold rally. So when you told me you're in a long gold, it's just like, well, that's the play. We'll see how it pans out now. I know the markets are just kind of weird. If anything changes that gold, let me know. I'm going to switch it over to my charts, and we could talk about the Nasdaq. And what I was talking about, Coach Jay, before we got started was, do you know how tempting it is to short the Nasdaq based off of opinion?
Yep.
Right? And so I'm like, sometimes if it feels like it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. And then when you zoom out, that we look at this and say, this looks pretty bullish to me on this higher time frame, right? Look at the daily, and we could do some very basic technical analysis and say, wow, higher lows equal highs. This is looking pretty bullish for a nice breakout, maybe a retest of, can we see a retest of 22,100? Sure. Now this is just saying, if you don't know anything that's going on in this world or the markets or interest rates or tariffs or anything, and just focus purely on what's in front of you and looking at these charts, I would say it's super bullish. After what happened today, this candlestick where we sold all the way down, basically to 500s, the lower 500s, rallied all the way back up just to finish at the highs. And then tonight, it's just continuing to push up into these 900s. We're at session highs tonight, into 900s, and just going up. I've been caught in this a few times, Coach Jay, and I'm sure other traders were like, man, all this tariff talk, interest rates, we just got hotter than expected inflation data. I mean, you could have all these opinions in this market, but here's a beautiful example that the market does not care about your opinions. We are just a few percent from all-time highs, regardless. And this always begs to differ. Just remember what we're trading in terms of Nasdaq, crude oil, gold, right? And all that fun stuff. What is your thoughts in today's price action in the Nasdaq, Coach Jay? As I'm looking at the daily, we can switch it over to your charts, and then we'll continue to zoom in and talk more about it.
Yeah, so the December 18th candle, we've been talking about this on At the Buzzer for pretty much since it printed. We have not really traded outside of that candle's range for very long. And where we traded today was right around 50% of it. We can see the low of the session so far today is right at that 50%, 21,850 level. We haven't spent much time in the upper 50% of this candle. Maybe it looks like that potentially today, but we also have 22,000, which is that major psych level right above us, 100 points above. It's hard to really choose a direction. I think today was just kind of with the theme of these markets being very range bound on a higher time frame. So although that CPI candle looked like everything was going to zero, I'm not surprised that we bounced. Right, I know we took a long in the S&Ps on the house account this morning because of that. Right, where it looks dramatic if you're on a 15-second chart, but when you zoom out, the markets just really haven't done anything. So we'll see. Do we trade the upper end of this range here? If there's no bad news that comes out, do the markets just go back into buy the dip mode? We will see. We will see.
It's been in buy the dip mode, man. It's just,
Yep.
I mean, the dips now have been pretty crazy, and so has yeah. You said we've been in a range for almost 2 months since Christmas.
Almost 2 months,
basically.
Yeah.
Right, since right around Christmas, we've been back and forth between 22,000 and 21,000. Seems like.
Yep.
Regardless of what anything is thrown at this market, it continues to recover. It shows how resilient it is. And now remember, we're only talking about the Nasdaq right now. We'll move on to these other markets. When I say this market, it's the Nasdaq, it's tech, it's Apple, Tesla, all those fun stuff. Yeah, and that's it from kind of the top-down point of view. As we start to zoom in, let me zoom into an hourly chart, and then we'll start to narrow price action for today. And sure enough, right, here's the Friday sell-off, the Sunday night gap this week. We've rallied up. Today's CPI, that's big giant sell-off, 300 points, and then right back up 300 points. We are now above that CPI candle. We are above this is new weekly highs, right? Where we broke through Monday's high, we broke through Tuesday's high, yesterday's high, today's Thursday night, so I'm going to refer to yesterday as Wednesday's price action. So yesterday's high, and we are making a run for last Friday, and it looks like that was the high of the last Friday for the last 2 weeks, right? This was the high of January 31st, and then this was the high of just last Friday, which is February 7th, and maybe we're going to make a run for that, these 960s, 950s level, but it's so tempting to short this market, Coach Jay.
Yeah, I see why. At least it's funny because Coach Paul and I were talking about different market, but talking about crude oil, right? And both being really bullish crude oil going into this week. And the first 2 days of the week was great. And then we're day traders, so we have to pay attention to what's happening that day. I'm very happy I did not buy crude oil today or last night. If we look at the price action, right, we sold off almost 2% in crude. So
switch it to yours.
I could see, the case for shorting the equities here, up here at kind of the highs of this range where we've been rejecting. But we know these markets and they can change day to day, right? Right now, I'm not seeing a signal to short, at least. On this 30-minute chart that I'm looking at, it's actually a pretty good signal to long, where we had a small 30-minute opening range to open up Globex, only 23 points in the Nasdaq. Volume has already left that range, and we're using it as a support. But of course, anything can happen right now.
Yeah, I see that. I see it. Let's move on to, you mentioned crude oil, Coach Jay. Last night, if everyone, whoever was joining me last night, we've been talking about a crude oil short for a while. Obviously, short has been the play. And yeah, if you remember last night, or the night before, I was looking for a short here. We broke out, and then, we kind of talked about this from a pure technical standpoint, where we had this trend line, and we just, I say we, but I'm referring to myself during my slow markets, is that we tried to break out of this trend line. And if somebody wanted to buy it, I was thinking, maybe we could wait for that retest and then see if this market can hold and then have that continuation. But the better play is definitely what we've seen play out, where we tried to do that here, right? We kind of done it, tested it, whatever, where we broke through, we came back down, we tested it, we tried to do it here in crude, and then just straight back down. Right, so that same price action kind of played out what we were seeing last night. Now, I've been really good at looking at these setups, and I don't want to say calling these setups out, but I haven't done a great job actually trading them.
Mhm.
And as soon as we broke right back down in, off we go. Now the next question I have in Crude is, are we going to break these lows of 70 and a half? And are we going to start to see $70 a barrel and break through into these 60s with maybe a further target down here to these 65s? Maybe we could start to see these 65s come into play sooner rather than later.
Yeah, this 70-50 area, 70 is going to be a major level to kind of get through. Uh, we're back under the 200 moving average on the 30-minute chart. It looks very bullish, but then again, how much room is there to the downside? Below 70s, there's a lot of room, right? That 3-month consolidation, I think even longer, that we sat in crude oil is right below where we are right now. We can kind of call 69 the high of that consolidation.
Mm-hmm.
So there's room.
Yeah, there's definitely room. I don't want to be trying to find areas to buy this market, to be honest.
Yeah.
Crude oil is different than what we were talking about the Nasdaq. Remember, the Nasdaq is a basket of stocks. Crude oil is a commodity, and crude oil, in my personal experience, have found it easier to find shorts in crude, comparing that to an index, right, or an index future like the Nasdaq or ES or the Russell or something. So I am more open to shorts on the crude than I am on the Nasdaq. I don't have too much. I mean, I can see some traders looking at crude oil and saying, we're overextended. It's tempting to buy. Yeah, it is tempting to buy down here. The same way I was saying it's tempting to sell the Nasdaq. Maybe you get what do they call where just a bounce after we've sold off so much, like catching a falling knife, or we get some type of a bounce or retracement. And
Right.
maybe I could see the crude oil bouncing for I don't know, maybe up to 71.70, and then see that continuation down and break through. But I don't want to be catching crude oil, because to me, when you're buying crude oil as it goes down, is a true falling knife. Now,
Oh yeah, for sure.
I have a harder time saying falling knife on the Nasdaq, because obviously buy the dips on the Nasdaq. Crude oil to me it's like a double-sided bladed knife. Like, at least with Nasdaq, you have a chance to catch the handle.
To a high probability, you can bet on money coming into the equities, right? It's not going to be all the time, right? Sometimes it's going to be scared money, but to a high probability, there's money coming into it. Not the same for crude, right? Where
Correct.
Real supply and demand concerns affect the price.
Yeah. Now, anything can happen, right? We see it all the time. Geopolitical risk. We had that Series 3 that during Power Hour, right? Where, what if something happens, some random headlines, or we could just bounce. We could bounce. You never know. But that's the beautiful thing about the market, is we do not know anything that goes on in the market for certain, other than prices move up and down, and they'll go to the right. And typically your stop loss is a better entry. I don't think anybody will be able to prove that theory incorrect. All right, let's take a look at...
Let's hope my stop is not a better entry in this gold trade, because my stop is pretty far.
Yeah. Oh, yeah? Oh, man, I just switched over to the Nikkei, Coach Jay, and I missed another great one.
Oh yeah,
missing trades left and right, man. That has been it for me. So if I look at a higher time frame here in the Nikkei, I've been thinking so much about buying the dip. I've been talking about this for the last 3 days. And this is another good example of, man, I talk a lot about it, but I have not traded it. Take a look at this, where we've been in the same thing, kind of like the Nasdaq, in this, consolidation, beautiful consolidation. It's a zone, and even on these lower ends, I was talking about higher lows, right? Higher lows. We've been having this consolidation around these 38,500s, and I was talking, and talk is cheap, that this could very well be an area. I think I was looking at the daily, to be honest, on the higher time frame. Yeah, and look what the Nasdaq, or this is not the Nasdaq. This is Nikkei. This is the Japanese market, right? Look at this consolidation. Yep. Look at this consolidation, and as soon as we started to break out, man, the next question I have for the Nikkei is, do we get back up to these 40,000s? Do we rally back up to this level? We are at the midpoint. Every time we get to this midpoint, it looks like there's some hesitation. I would be very, very difficult to find a short trade here, right? I'd be very hard. I wouldn't want to short or buy this market at this level. It looks like the trade played out overnight as we started to break through. And maybe if we see some type of pullback, maybe the Nikkei becomes tradable for me. I do trade the Nikkei. I know a lot of it's a love-hate relationship. I mean, it's coming up on Valentine's. I mean, Nikkei is definitely
Nikkei's not getting a Valentine's gift this year.
Nope, Nikkei's not getting a Valentine's gift for me for this year. But if we do get some type of consolidation, pullback, and then we start to make a run, yes, I definitely would be looking to buy the Nikkei to see if we could make a run up to these upper, above 40,000 here. But it needs to prove me. It needs to, it's not a two-sided. I don't want it to be a one-sided relationship, Coach Jay. It needs to prove to me it's going to. You know what? This is a PG rated stream. I'm going to just leave it at that. Yeah,
there we go. I get what you mean, though.
You know exactly what I mean.
Potential for a pullback. Where would you be looking to get in long, right? If we do get a pullback here, because I do actually really like maybe 350s, 320s.
Yeah, let me see. Well, we know when it breaks out, it loves to pull back and test resistance, right? Well, we do have a decent resistance area here around, those 240s, 270s, these upper 200s. And, maybe we see even a pullback to these 320s, right? So you can see where we gapped down. We gapped down right here on February 2nd. And you can see where we gapped down, we came back, we filled the gap, and that gap became resistance. So maybe we do get a little bit of pullback to these 330s, maybe 230s. And then I want to see a higher low, to be honest, Coach Jay. We've seen one higher low, right, where this is the main low. We've seen one higher low, whether you want to consider it this entire one. I would consider it something like this. And then you could start kind of building some support. I would like to see the Nikkei sell off, find some type of support, find some consolidation, and then I would play the breakout to the long side and see if we could run up. My first target obviously is going to be the next support resistance, which I do see these 39,800s coming into play. It was a nice resistance through the end of January, support through January, and then resistance at the end. So yeah, these are the things I'm thinking of. And then obviously a run up above, it's just at the end of January, we were above 40,000. So we can see volatility in this market. It's not for the faint of heart. I do not recommend trading the Nikkei for newer traders because it's not so liquid market if you understand what that means. If you don't, then it's just definitely not for you.
Yeah. Seeing some news out of Japan. Japan 10-year yield increases to 1.37%, the highest since 2010. That headline kind of coincides with that Nikkei move. Speaking of Japanese markets, the yen, we had a trader reach out to Coach Paul. Coach Paul, I know, trades the yen a lot. Said they made $1,500 trading in the yen yesterday in an XFA. Not a market that you hear talked about a lot, but news out of Japan affects these markets for sure. Yen's a great market to trade. I don't see a trade in it right now, but that Nikkei trade, Dakota, I do like that, potential pullback to 350s, 320s for pullback for some continuation long.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like what we were talking about gold, where it's buy the dip, buy the dip. You want to see that type of market structure first. If you're really going to be getting into a market like that, or a market that you're just not used to trading, for me, it'd be like gold, Nikkei, crude oil too. We see that nice market structure in crude. I mean, you take gold, you flip it upside down, you got crude.
Right.
I mean, that's, basically, right? Gold, you buy the pullback on gold, and you've been selling these little bounces on crude oil.
100%. Coach Hoop said that in the chat. He said the trade right now is to sell crude, buy gold. Let's see what happens here.
Yeah, I'm not seeing too much of anything else going on, Coach Jay. If you want to take a look at your gold trade, and
I just put in the chat, rule number 1 about this gold trade: we don't talk about this gold trade until it works. But it's my
here
job
I
here.
am. Let's bring up your gold trade. Oh, there we go. There we go. Gold, buy the dip. Buy the dip.
Buy the dip. It's my job to talk about it. So what I'm looking for right now, obviously decent price action in my favor, but we are near the kind of this what could be a double top here if we don't see any buyers come in. So I'm looking for a push above 29.36. That'll give me a spot to kind of limit my risk on this trade, and then again target up here at 29.50 if we get the buying to come in.
Yeah, nice. I like it. And then, just so everybody knows, we will be reviewing some trader statistics. We will be reviewing trader statistics near the end of class. And if you would like to, Coach Jay and I to review your trader statistics, over here in Topstep X, you could go ahead and click on Performance Stats. Click on Performance Stats. Click on that button. Over here, you click on Share. Copy that link, and then you could share this link into the Top Steps Discord under Coach Jay or my channel, and then put a description. The more description, and right there, Andrew A posted that channel in the YouTube chat. You could copy and paste that link into that channel, and make sure you put a description so that when we are reviewing your statistics, there's context behind it. We can review a trader's statistics, but the more context that you have behind it, the better it is to understand, to give better feedback, more clarity of what we're looking at, and to understand it a lot more.
I'm looking at these daily candles on gold. These are some ugly candles, but
it can't be as ugly as the Nasdaq's daily candles, can it? Let's see.
I mean, look at this. Look at these last 2 candles. These are
it's oh man, yeah, it's just up, right? There's no pattern in those candles that I could see anyway. It's just
right over the last couple of days, buying the dip. But then look at today, right? Today's price action was pretty much all downside and closed right above where it opened. I do like this, where this shows failed selling. I like this for my trade specifically here. But let's see what happens with it.
Yep. I mean, that's a great trade. We've been seeing gold rally almost every slow markets, and another one. I mean, it's kind of like what the gold trade all over again, right? Remember when we were selling gold at slow markets? It was just routine. It was just every night at that time. Gold was selling off every night, just boom, 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 simple, straightforward, easy. And now here it is again. The past week or two, every night, just buy gold, buy. As soon as I start stream, it's been going up.
My question for you is, what time does it stop going up? so I can time stop this.
I don't know. You're gonna have to check. I haven't checked that.
All right.
So far, I don't think it stopped. We did put on that high the other night that I ran a poll. I think it was Monday or Tuesday. When it kept going up and up and up, and I had that 3-bar reversal, and just it was a great trade, and ran that poll. Say this is going to be the high of the day. Sure enough, it was, and we might be recovering that. I could see
got 100 lot here.
Resistance right here.
Got 100 lot here at 29.35. I've been kind of watching this the whole time, seeing what they do with this order, if they move it around or not. But it's kind of just sitting there, wondering whether or not we have enough buying in this market right now to take that out, or do they save that for London or New York? So let's see what happens here. A couple of ticks away from it.
Correct. Yeah. Nice, man. We went through everything really quick, right? Markets are not moving
pretty quick.
too much, too crazy. Just so tempting to short the Nasdaq up here. I don't see a valid setup though. It's one of those where process over profits. I had that. I seen a couple of traders in the chat talking about the analogy I had during Power Hour. If you missed it, I had a nice analogy. Go back, watch it. But essentially, it's the same thing: process over profits. One of the best golfers, current best golfers, which is Bryson DeChambeau, Coach Jay. He was saying you don't even have to keep track of your score. The point of becoming better is focusing on it's you versus you, right? It doesn't matter, your score at the end. Sometimes, especially when you're not in a tournament, you go out there. The goal and what you need to do is just focus on the process. Focus on hitting the golf ball. Making good contact, solid contact. You can look at the result later, and the more you can practice on that, getting great, you're hitting a good shot every single time. You're consistent. Then you could adjust, right? Same as trading, where we're focusing on the process, place the trade, execute, follow the process. Later, after a week or 2 or 3 or 4, longer the better, you could go back, you could adjust, and you can make those adjustments. And we're going to be looking at statistics later on, near the end of class, and I think we're going to be able to demonstrate that regardless of whose statistics that we look at. Typically, the more statistics you have or the more data you have, the more solid and the easier it is to review your statistics and see, are you doing something wrong or are you doing something right? I've been having conversations, Coach Jay, on some of the traders, and even one, I can't remember the trader's name, on the YouTube chat during Power Hour, where if you do not follow your strategy, you're doing yourself 2 disfavors, right? Number one, you don't really know if it was your process or if it was just the market that got it right or wrong, if it was loser or winner. And number one, that's a disservice for yourself, right? Because it's emotional, and who knows whether it's going to be a winner or a loser, and you broke your process. So that's the issue, the first one. Number 2, later on down the road, in a month from now, when you're reviewing your statistics, that's an invalid data point. That's bad data. You don't want to review statistics that you don't follow your process, because it's not true statistics. At the end of the day, if you're doing that, unless you journal, and if you could keep a note, and then you could differentiate, hey, these are the trades that I broke my strategy or my process. These are the trades that I didn't. And then you could compare, and I love stats. Stats are amazing. Data is amazing. That's what the market truly is. At the end of the day, we're reviewing data. We're trying to develop a process to take advantage of market fluctuations, and they're continue to get into more and more stuff in depth each night, Coach Jay.
The cool thing about data is, especially if you're following a process, I used to do this with my basketball teams all the time. And it's funny, sometimes I would try to keep the stats away from them because they would only focus on the points. If you just play the game the same way every time, right? Not focusing on the numbers, but just focusing on the process, the numbers are going to be the numbers, right? And then it's hard to argue with them, right? I coached my younger brother for a long time, and I had like the stats on his field goal percentage on different spots of the court. And he didn't realize where he was going when he was comfortable and making shots. He was just playing the game. So I'm just like, okay, when you find yourself over here, these are lower percentage shots just by the way you naturally play the game. So just don't shoot those shots, right? Because the numbers are not favorable to you. So repeating a process first, right? So there was a question also about this gold trade, that 115 lot. Would that move the market down or pull it up? It depends, right? A lot of times we'll see these bigger orders act like magnets, but you might have heard when I said, is there enough buying in this market to take that out? It's 115 contracts that are sitting there. So that means we need either one market participant or multiple to be convinced enough about gold continuing to the upside to take out 115 contracts, right? So it could either attract the market or reject it, right? The market, we just saw it push up to it. No one's willing to take that order out, so we sell off a little bit. So right now, because we have that up there and I could see the rejection, and we talked about this potentially being a double top, thinking about trade management here, do I limit my risk and say, hey, if we make a new low at this point, do I want to get out? I'm not moving my stop yet, but thinking about trade management, because if we can't take out that bigger order, then we're going to come right back down.
I like it. Data doesn't lie. I mean, it's the same whenever someone tells me that LeBron James isn't the GOAT. What do you mean he's not an all-time scorer? He's not a good scorer. I mean,
Right.
that doesn't lie. The reason why no one will. He holds the all-time scoring record, and he's so high up in assists, and I can go off, but it's the same thing, right? I opened up a can of worms there, Coach Jay. Let's see
LeBron
the
is
chat.
the GOAT, no matter what. He's what, top 10 in assists, top 10 in points, rebounds, whatever it is. JP said it. Coach Dakota knows ball, 100%.
Oh man,
We got Zorro X-Ray. I don't know where this came from, Dakota, but Zorro is just randomly started doing basketball trivia in the Topstep YouTube chat. I think I've gotten all the questions right so far, but
okay.
just got a pretty tough one here.
Let's see. Which one?
The question was, who is the first non-American MVP?
Oh,
I think I got it right, Zorro.
what's your? You answered it already.
Yeah, I answered. I said, this is just the top of my head. I thought it was Hakeem Olajuwon. This is not a basketball show either.
No. I was curious. Oh, chat. We always have fun. It's slow markets, right? It's a lot more relaxed. We're reviewing markets. We're talking markets. Markets are going slow, and yeah, it's always fun to have you on here, Coach Jay. Still waiting for some traders to post their statistics. We still have a full hour to go, and these markets are not moving very much. Coach Jay, if you want to go through and see on some of the trader statistics, I'll go through the chat. I am getting this question so much today. I want to make sure I'm not going to address it in detail, but everybody, there's a reason why you just kind of stay out of the drama. Coach Jay, you know this best. Stay out of the drama.
Yep.
It's you against you. It doesn't matter what's going on Twitter. It doesn't matter what's going on social media. There's always going to be drama. There's always going to be people talking at people. I see it all the time. I see it all the day. We see it in the YouTube chat. You just focus on you being you improving your own trading. Focus on your own process. I mean, that's all you have to do. Do that. Try and be a good person and just move on.
Yeah, 100%. Anything that we do here, I think, and for all the traders, right? Sometimes what goes on in social media can be entertaining. It's at the end of the day, why are we all here? It's to try to make money from these markets. So if it's not helping you make money, probably ignore it. If you want drama, there's a bunch of great shows on like Netflix and Hulu and stuff like that. Somebody was talking about like guilty pleasure shows the other day, like stuff that you might even be embarrassed to say you watch. If anyone has ever seen The Ultimatum on Netflix, it's a great show.
I watched one episode and I turned it off because I know I'm not getting it out. And I don't want to be the guy who's like, you know what, that was pretty good. That was pretty intense.
Man, it's a show I would never do, but The Ultimatum it's good TV. It's good TV.
It is.
We got MP in the chat. Shout out to Michael Patak. What's going on, MP?
He's enjoying it. MP knows exactly what we're talking about too, Coach Jay. Love it. It's a double-edged sword, just like these markets. I mean, the one thing that we always want to continue is what MP was saying, and I love this. I love these quotes. This is my favorite quote of all time. Was price is what you pay, value is what you get. I talk about Ferrari. I give a lot of Ferrari analogies, and you might know some of them, Coach Jay.
Yep.
And
no commercials for Ferraris.
Guys over talking about the Ultimatum, but yeah, getting distracted. Ferrari analogies, yeah, Ferrari, where the culture, right? When someone buys a Ferrari, they never question the value, right? And that's kind of what I love. I love that culture. I see it in a lot of successful companies, in supply chains around the world, right? We're in our own little bubble here in the U.S. sometimes, but Topstep is international. Trading's international. We have Cami Capital in the chat. D is in London, right? Coach J. And
yep.
It's like it is that. It's the Mamba mentality. It's Ferrari, where you build the value, and no one else would question it. You don't question it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Dakota, I'm trying to go through some of these dashboard stats, but they have not been loading for me for whatever reason. I'm not sure if you want to try to take a look. Tried this with my VIPs also. They would load it for everyone else, not for me. Maybe I got to clear my cache or something.
It's on your end then. Cookies.
Been watching too much Ultimatum.
It's yeah, because I'm not. Oh, Cami Capital shared one. Let's see. I gotta click on that one. Is this yours, Cami?
Yeah, I think he shared his in the chat.
All right, we gotta take a look at that one. That's the first one we're gonna look at. It's working. They're all working for me, Coach Jay.
I don't know what's going on over here.
Yeah, let's get through some of these. We still have 45 minutes, 55 minutes left in class. We went through our regular rapid fire. It is slow markets. We are finally seeing some good slow markets, away from all the political drama that moves these markets 150, 60 points in a matter of minutes. It's been causing some chaos in these markets. Things are pretty settled. And yeah, a little bit of FOMO is playing out, Coach Jay, with his Nasdaq now starting to sell off. We did get up there as high as these 914s, and we are right back down around 880. Now, with all that, here is the first account from, I believe this is Cami Capital, shared it in the chat, XFA, Express Funded Account. Now, I always talk about different levels of psychology. Psychology is, to me, one of, if not the most important aspect of trading, because it can go hand in hand with risk management. Risk management, obviously, right up there too. They're fighting for 1 and 2, just like traders talk about LeBron James and Michael Jordan, the risk management and trading psychology. So $10,000, amazing to see profit. What can we say on this one, Coach Jay? I'm assuming that this one
looks like a payout.
Was a payout. I'm just making an assumption. We don't know until we get back down into these statistics. But a nice 1-to-1 risk reward, 67%. This is kind of the sweet spot I tend to see traders in. Run to 1, over 50%, obviously profitable. 19-minute hold time is another one of those sweet spots. For me, it's between 10 and 20 minutes. I like to see that. 50-50 almost for the bias on the directions of the trades. A little bit more to the long side.
Like that.
Nice equity curve. One losing day. So it looks like that might have been a losing day. Minus $2,400. No, that looks like maybe a payout. Maybe on the same day.
Yeah, it looks like a payout. Is it on the calendar? Maybe it was a losing day and a payout. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Probably $2,000 payout.
February 5th. Feb 5th.
It's nice though.
Yeah, okay. So, sometimes I tend to do that sometimes as well, Coach Jay, in my own personal accounts. When I have a losing day, sometimes you just, I'm going to request the payout, or I can't really request the payout, right? Because you just withdraw it from your own personal broker.
Right.
Or same thing, right? If you're struggling, if you're doing good, you have a bad day, and you request the payout, give it a day. It's all right. Back to it, right? Back to it. Reset, realize it. Sometimes traders need that realization in their bank account to make it real. Get back and start following the process over profits. So far, what I'm liking out of all of this is that, one trade, starting off this XFA with one trade, one good win, 3 trades, 2 trades, not over trading. One trade
focusing on one product.
That's
all Nasdaq trades.
Yeah, this one's hard to do, Coach Jay. To have one trade, have it be a loser, and call that a day, minus $400.
Yeah, that's tough. Give me 1 second here because I saw something. So I about that payout, right? That payout day. I wanted to ask, and if Cami is still here, did the payout come before or after the losing day? Right? Did you do it like Dakota just said, where you was like, hey, I took a losing day, but I want to make sure I paid myself from all the work that I did prior, so I'm going to take a payout because I just took a loss? Or we've seen traders do it also, where it's just like, hey, I took a payout. Now I feel the need to try to fill that balance in again. So now I might be taking trades that are focused on filling the balance and not a process. So just wondering when that payout came, but either way, great equity curve here. Really nice job paying yourself. And yeah, this is great
Yeah.
trading.
Yeah, I like it. It looks like they're building into a position, right? Like here's an example of a day built into a position, right? Getting in, getting out. I like it. I'm there. I'm not seeing anything too crazy.
Nope.
I mean, the losing day there was 15 trades, so I'm not sure. Not sure on that one. Looks like you finished out on a positive note, though. That can be a positive thing, right? Where you're down. A lot of traders will keep going until they try and get back to break even. You still ended it in a negative day, but you ended a negative day in a positive way.
Yep.
Oh, there he is in the chat. After a loss, took a risk with some excess and then paid out. Okay.
Nice.
So the payout came after loss. I like that. It's a beautiful thing to see. That's kind of how you.
I've seen if anybody is interested in order flow trading, I watch it. I don't watch everything on YouTube, but the people I really like, I watch them, and Cammy's one of them.
Yeah, you
Cammy's
watch
order flow, Cammy's order
that
flow
and
trading.
Ultimatum highlights.
Yeah, man, the reunion episode, Dakota.
I'm gonna tease you now until I forget about it.
It's okay. I self-admitted that one, so it's all right.
Yeah,
This is
overall
great, though,
good stats. I think, yeah, I don't want to say more losing days, but I think it's kind of what we're saying. Great stats. Love to see it. About 1 month, one good month worth of data. The more data, the better. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with taking a losing day and continuing. It's about being able to keep trading, keep going and going and going. Okay, back to it. Nasdaq, nothing still happening to the markets. And then I'll continue. If you know what, crude oil is continuing to sell off, Coach Jay. I'm going to switch it back to your chart, and I'm going to see if I could find another trader statistics. If you want to give us an update on that gold trade.
Yeah, so kind of exactly what we said. That 29.35, 115 lot is still sitting there. MP is still listening. If he wants to queue up that house account and buy 115 contracts for this trade to work out, that would be awesome. But the market's rejecting right around that area. So thinking about trade management, do I just take this one off? I like where I am, as far as price goes, and I think gold does have the potential to move up. I'm just thinking about, does that happen now, or do we get a little bit of a pullback? Still in a good position, really haven't moved anywhere. This trade isn't going to go anywhere until that 115 lot either gets traded out or they pull it.
That makes sense. I'm just replying to a couple traders. There's one trader shared me one day. You shared your statistics in an XFA, and it was just one day. But I want to talk about it anyway. Now, preferably, I want to review trader statistics that's more than one day. But yeah, it's here. It's one day anyway. There's not much to talk about. And here's why. The markets change day to day. You can have a good market condition day. You can have a bad market condition day, depending on your strategy. It's hard to judge a trader's statistics based off of one day. However, if I'm going to judge or say anything on this one day, you're trading micros. That's good. 124 trades on micros. I'm not sure if that's going to be on the excessive side. I don't know what would classify as excessive or not, but maybe it's a little more on the excessive side, trading so much. But I like this. I like that the trader's starting an express account in a micros, trading micros. Yep. Looks like you started red and then you were able to this is typically an equity curve with this much data on a single day, all these data points on a day. This is a nice thing to see, right? You can, with micros, you have the luxury to keep trading in terms of you have tomorrow. You're not going to, well, at least you shouldn't be blowing your account with micros. I've been talking with my VIP team, Coach Jay, Pop Squad.
Okay.
And that's the first thing I've said was scale down, trade micros. And if you're going to be trading one or two micros, your odds are you're not going to be blowing your account anytime soon. Accounts get blown as soon as you start scaling up. This
Yep.
allows you to trade, just like my golf analogy, right? Golf as much as you want. Focus on just making contact with the ball. Focus on the process to just hit a good shot, make a good trade. What classifies as a good trade? You follow a process. It doesn't matter whether you win or lose. No, at this stage in your trading, it should not matter whether you win or lose any particular trade, because you're trading for a year from now, right? You're trading for 2 years from now, 3 years from now. So you're learning the fundamentals, you're learning the basics, and that's the process. The same process that you're going to be using trading one micro is going to be the same process that you're going to be using, hopefully to be trading, a Nasdaq, one mini in a live account, making a decent amount of money. So it's the fundamentals, it's the process. It's not the dollar amount at this stage when you're learning. Now, an XFA account is a little bit different than a combiner or practice. Traders tend to focus a little more money, a little bit more on the money, but great trading. Don't give it back. Always use a stop and a daily loss limit. I mean, there's not really much to analyze on this. It's just one day.
I'm going to ask you one question just about one specific trade here, Dakota. Just looking at, and like you said, this is one day, so you don't want to overanalyze it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a trade here where the trader was short and got out of that trade at 7:30 and 9 seconds this morning for biggest P&L on the day with a 1 micro, made $500.
Okay, I see that.
So that's clearly a CPI trade.
That's
right?
a CPI trade. That was a CPI
right.
trade.
You got it right in this case. I love the fact that you did that with micros and not minis. And it's 2 micros. But even then, right, in 9 seconds, 2 micros made $1,000, right? If you're on the wrong side of that, 2 micros can lose $1,000, right? So
yeah, I have no words for that one, to Coach Jay.
Yeah, you did it the right way if you're going to do it by trading micros, but that's just be careful doing that with any more size than that.
Yeah, so trust me, because I've experienced it, slippage, right? Because if this went against you, your stop loss might get triggered, but you could see how fast it happens. Yeah, you might get some crazy slippage. If you do trade breakout trades or news trades or spikes in volatility during like the New York Open or event-driven trades, I mean, yeah, if you are going to trade, might as well use a micro. So this, right? Like, you tell me, hey, if I'm going to risk
400, if that was a 1-to-1,
I'm okay with that, right? I'm okay with that. It's just sometimes you don't know. We've seen it on the Sunday Open, right? Where if someone places a trade and the market's moving like 400 points really quick, we've seen it on CPI candles. We've seen it on that one random one. I think it was this past Friday where it was consumer sentiment. What was it? The Friday number. So random.
Michigan sentiment.
Yeah, it's just so random. Typically, we don't see that type of move on the Michigan sentiment. And if you go into a number like that, like, Michigan sentiment, usually we see like 20 points, 50 points worth of movement at most. And then boom, 100 points just out of nowhere. Double what someone might expect. And so, yeah, you can put yourself in a scary situation. If you do, why not? Do it in micros. If you have to, and if it's part of your strategy and part of your process, micros. So I like that. Yeah, maybe we spent a little bit too much time on a one-day stat, but yeah, there we go. I'm going to continue to look at them, Coach Jay. Switching back to your charts, if you want to talk about.
We're coming back up to these to this 115 lot here, 29.35. Not really much for me to do here. I could be, again, thinking about position management, but everything that got me into this trade is still valid, right? That VWAP did leave that 30-minute opening range to the upside. It's not the most urgent VWAP, right, where that it kind of barely left the range, so I wouldn't be surprised at a pullback to it. Trying to decide whether or not I take profits here or give the market the opportunity to trade trade this out and stay in it. Let's see. We're getting closer to it.
Buy gold. Just buy it. Buy it.
There it is. Trade it out. It just traded out. So let's see now. See if we get some follow through after it.
Good trade. If we break out of that, we're at his resistance zone right now, right?
Yep. Yeah. If this gets above 36, I really do like this trade to continue to the upside. And that gives me a place to trail, right? I could move my stop to 32 now, where somewhere's in profit. But a lot of times what we'll see is when that bigger order gets filled, we'll get a pullback first before we continue up. So.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to answer a question in chat. Maybe you could bounce your idea off this. Because this is a good one. And it's an important one. It's kind of, process over profits. I've been saying that a lot. Shout out to my VIP team. Is maybe this is a stupid question, which it's not. No question's stupid. In other words, or in a few words, another way to explain enjoy the process, not the money. So how can one enjoy the process and not the money, right? Because I'll let you answer that first, Coach Jay. I'm going to think on that because there's a few ways I want to go about answering
In a few words, another way to explain enjoy the process, not the money. The process is what makes you money, right? The process is what gets you results here. And if you're solely focused on a result, you're inevitably going to have negative results here, right? But if you are focused on always having good results, and good results meaning green P&Ls at the end of the day, when you have a red one, all you want to do is get back to green, right? Because you're tying positive to green, which, yes, at the end of the day, we need to have some green days in order to make money from doing this. But in doing this, right, we have to accept that some of the time, even when we do exactly what we want, we're going to see a red result. That's any high performer has to accept the percentage of the time that things don't work out, right? So if you focus only on the money and enjoying the money, all of your decisions are going to be to make that money, right? And then when you're not making it, you make poor decisions, from my experience. But when you focus on it, not to go back to LeBron, but if you listen to him in his early career with the Cavaliers, right? He would say, I'm going to go out and play the game the way I know, and I'm going to live with the result, whatever it is, win or lose, right? And that's how you can continue coming back. And ultimately, you get results if you keep following that process. But if you focus solely on the money, the days where you don't want to do this, you're going to look at the chart, say, is there an opportunity for me to make money? You're just going to sit down, click a couple buttons. It's funny. I was texting one of my friends about Dakota. I told you one of my best trades this year was buying CVS, and I cut half of my position. I cut half of my position before today, and I was talking to one of my friends about it, and he was just like, "Well, you know what? Steph Curry shoots 40% from the 3-point line, and he's a Hall of Famer, right? So you're not going to get them all right, but I enjoy the process of finding the next one." So,
Lakers enjoy the process of trading. That's for sure. So my grandpa, I don't know where he got this from, but he's always tell me is if you find a way to build value, then like you said, Coach Jay, money would be a byproduct. Build value. Now, how do you build value in your own trading? Well, that's what it is. It's building a process. It's following a process. It's being in love with the process and not the money. And it's hard to do because if you go to the gym, no one likes waking up early and going to the gym. No one likes getting all sweaty. Then they have to shower and get ready for a dinner or something. But after a while, you enjoy it. You really do. And you start to fall in love with being able to go through that process. And it's the same thing in trading, in starting a business. I talk to a lot of business owners. I talk to a lot of CEOs in Utah. Here's a great example. Have you ever had True Fruit, the frozen chocolate fruit covered?
I have not.
Okay, well, CEO, amazing guy. And it's the same thing, just looking, where can I build value? And we have to do that not only in our trading, but in everything that we do. If we're referring this to our trading, it's the same thing. How can I build value in my own trading? And that's to follow the process, follow the process, follow the process. Doing that on 1 micro, 2 micros, it doesn't really matter. And as soon as you build that process, you're essentially building that value in yourself, because that's your value. That's where your value is as a trader comes from. Some traders have tried that. True. Yeah, COO's amazing here out of Utah.
Nice. Yeah. And sometimes, to be honest, sometimes you're not going to enjoy the process, and that's okay.
No.
Right? Sometimes you're going to hate it. Sometimes you're going to look at the charts and think, I don't want to make a decision at all, and that's part of the process, right? And then knowing when to stay away, in that case, is important.
I mean, as kids, we always hated when our mom would tell us not to eat the junk food or candy or do this or do that. And then later on, you look back and be like, oh, that was right. This person was hard on me for a reason.
Right. Thinking about this gold trade. I'm going to move my stop up at this point. If we get back into the Asian session opening range, I want to be out. So my stop's going to move up to 29.32.5. And if we get a little bit of a pullback and hold that Asian session opening range high, I might add a contract or two. But at this point, I don't want this trade to turn into a loser.
Got it. Okay, here we go. Here's the next trader. Happens to be in my VIP team, Coach Jay. So I'm gonna favor my VIP team member other than anybody else here. So I'm gonna be biased. I told traders I'm always gonna be biased. If it's up to me to pick my team members, I would, and I would do the traders I want. I'm definitely gonna be biased when it comes to that. So let's switch it to mine. Here's this next trader. Let me make sure. No, this is not the right one. I'll have to review that one next. I clicked on the wrong link. Now that I have this link, I now feel obligated to review this, I think. Anyway, here's an XFA. I like this one. There's plenty of data here. Let me make sure I get all of it. Oh, I love to see an XFA that's been open for this long. Since December.
Nice.
$10,000, it looks like, total P&L. And judging by this equity curve, there's been multiple payouts. The trader is in the chat, so let me know. Let me make sure. Like these look like payouts. At least just eyeballing it. So going through this, below a 50% win rate. Once again, I continue to see amazing traders prove time and time again. It's not just about win percentage. You have to have your risk reward and your win percentage. They go hand in hand. It gets over glorified. The win percentage gets so over glorified. I know you can confirm that, Coach Jay. You see it all the time, all over social media. Wow, this trader never loses. He 90% winner. And they won't really talk about the risk reward, right? You can have 90% winners. That 10% blows the account. So this continues to prove it over and over again. You see some amazing live traders here at Topstep continue to prove it as well. We're getting called up to live, big dollar amounts, big daily P&Ls, destroying these markets with less than a 50% win rate, which is absolutely amazing. So you can't have one without the other. This is a good example, less than 50%, but close to a 2-to-1. And that's came to some a great profit factor, great P&L. And if you imagine what this P&L curve would look like without the payouts, right? It would be way up, up to there's the 10,000 mark.
Bank account P&L is looking nice though. What you were saying, Dakota, and this is why just win rate alone isn't enough. We see it all the time on Topstep TV. If we take a losing trade, it's like, oh, these guys suck. If this trader was a streamer, more than half the days they streamed, somebody would be saying they suck because they lose a lot. but that's okay, because at the end of the day, the P&L on the account is green, right? So whatever you're doing over a longer period of time, and you said it a couple of times today already, you're trading for a year, you're trading for 2 years. That's, these are the stats we want to see, right? Over the course of 2 months, this trader's been able to take payouts, still have a $10,000 balance in the account, and can continue going through all of the losses. And this goes back to focusing on that process. Part of that process is knowing exactly what your losing day looks like. This XFA started off with a $4,200 day.
Oh yeah, let's take a look. Back in December, right? Oh,
Yeah,
that's one heck
42.
of a way to start it off.
Right,
And then
right out the gate.
I like how they slowed down too.
Yeah. Yep. I feel like we've talked about this person before.
Maybe it's just so beautiful. Why not? Why would we not talk about him again?
Right. Right.
Look at the cumulative profit. Like, this is the true equity curve, right? Not taking out the payouts. This is the net P&L. I'd love to see that. That's beautiful.
Hey, look at that. Gold just popped.
Oh, switch. Let's take a look at gold. We'll go back to the P&Ls.
Gold just popped about $1.50 above those highs, 29.36. So now I'm going to trail a little bit more. 29.34 is where I'll get out if we get a pullback. Just remembering where those 35s were, right? We filled that 35. So whoever bought there, if we pull back to there, I want to see them defend that position. MP, if that was you, thank you. But don't want to see the market trade too much below that anymore. But that was just a nice little pop there in gold.
Nice
see if we get
trade.
Continuation now.
And you're trailing it up, right? That's your stop loss up above. Yeah, it looks like.
Yeah, stop loss here. Want a couple more points in the profit here. There was a good question, I think was by Lily in the chat. Pretty Lily in the chat said, why don't you just take one off and leave your stop where it was? I could do that, right? I have 3 contracts on right now. I could take one off and leave my stop where it was just to try to stay in this trade a little bit longer. But I also don't want to think about this trade once we're done with the stream. Just want to take it off and
I mean, you haven't been thinking about it, right? We've been talking statistics and just letting the trade work out.
Right.
Yeah, that's the way to do it, man. Sometimes the best trades are the ones that you don't even think about and you just let it go. Now,
yep.
Yeah, this trader started off with a bang, right? Upside down risk reward, right? But this trader is a bear. This trader has been a bear since December.
Yeah.
Look at this. 232 trades to the short side, 50 trades to the long side. Average trade duration's 32 minutes. So, I mean, shorting the market, even though the markets typically go up. Let's see. Nasdaq, yeah. Interesting.
Trading equities too, right?
Yeah. So, like I said, both sides can make money. Bear makes money, bulls make money, pigs get slaughtered, that famous saying. And here's a beautiful example of that.
Yeah, really nice trade report there.
Yeah, not much really to go over. I mean, it's just beautiful. Not too much context. Okay, here's my VIP member right here. Combine. I don't mind if it's a combine. You are my VIP Pop Squad team member, so I'm going to review your stats. So you get a free this. Anyway, let's take a look. Started February. It looks like this is a combine, and it looks like you started at the beginning of the month. Start February, 100K combine. Let's take a look. Good risk reward, 1-to-1 risk reward, 60% trade, 62% trade, good profit factor. What's the target for the 100K accounts, Coach Jay?
6K. 6K.
Okay, so you're about halfway there. Don't think about the dollar amounts. Don't think about forcing yourself to pass. Process over profits, right? Number of lots traded, 457. 457 in 2 weeks. That's interesting. It's probably a lot of micros. I'm going to make that assumption. Average winning 60, average losing 60. So you're not going to blow or make anything in one day. I like that. Best trade. This is what I love to see. Best trade was about $700 with 2 micros. and I don't think that's a news event.
No, it doesn't look like it.
Yeah,
Unless it was a random, not a planned one. Might have been a random one.
Yeah, maybe.
Could have been on the right side of tariff talk.
Yeah, so think about this: 2 micros, $700. Worst trade. 5 micros, over double the size, and only lost $400. So you don't need a lot of size to make money. Like it continued to be a proven fact over and over again. What's the hold time? 5 minutes. 5 minutes trade duration. Journaling. Good job journaling. Very good job journaling. Lots of trades. You didn't trade Tuesday, which is big shout out to you. You didn't trade Tuesday. You don't have to trade. Trading's optional. I'm just looking through this.
I just realized what so that trade, I really like doing this, looking at the trade reports and then seeing where that trade came in.
Yeah, what
that trade with the 2 micros, that was the University of Michigan sentiment number, right? Where we dropped 100 points. I really like what that trader did there. Friday? Because that was Friday. I have the chart up here if we want to take a look. Yeah. But they were short from 951. Pretty much the high of the day. Call the high of the day. I think you took this short.
I was short right there too.
So having a profit target, right, where you might be looking for the low of this candle to trade out here, right? Where the trader got out of the trade was 778. So right around here. This trade went another 100, almost 200 points after the trader got out.
Okay.
But they got out, right? Sometimes when the market gives you what you're looking for or more in pretty quick order, and if you were watching the markets this day, this whole candle happened in like 30 seconds. Just got out the trade.
Right? I see that. Yeah.
Take the money. I'm not going to look for more. What I do like, and we talked about, trading into news. You had a trade that before the news came out, you were 50 points in the profit. If you're going to trade news, go ahead, Dakota.
Identical to my Friday trade too, right?
It was the same trade.
Same trade. Well, you're in my class for a reason, right? You're in the VIP for a reason. So I love seeing
coaching is working.
Coaching, sometimes it works. It's do as I say, not as I do sometimes. So love to see that.
So let me clarify what I just said here. The global inner circle says, "Are we praising news? Let's all just gamble then." That is not what I'm suggesting here at all. We've said it before, where we had another trader that took advantage of a news candle where they traded micros. We said, if you're going to do it, I'm not going to suggest that. I would actually say just stay out of it, right? Why trade during the most volatile time of the day? But if you're going to do it, right, there's a way to do it where you're not going to blow your account. You could lose a whole lot. You could lose a lot more than you wanted to pretty quick. But if you're going to do it, this trader had a trade that was 50 points in the profit before the news came out. Right. So we've even said it a couple of times, Dakota, right? Where I don't know what their management style was, but if I was in from 950 where they got in short, I'm in 6 minutes before the news comes out and I already have 40 points in the profit. My exit could go right at 920. Worst case scenario, I make about 25 points on that trade.
Exactly.
Best case scenario, I trade into it. If my entry was here instead, right at 9:05, right before that news came out, and my entry's here, and I'm like teetering on break even or a tick in the profit, get out the trade.
Yeah. Good example. The global inner circle. Watch Friday's recording. It's live on TopstepTV on the YouTube channel that you're on here. I was actually in that same trade. I got into multiple contracts, closed off, like you said, Coach Jay, in this exact similar process, closed off some for take profit, moved my stop loss down. It was into money, and let the trade play out. Yes, it could have went against us, against me, against this trader, and would have been able to take a loss on that final contract. But that's the point. I'm always going to tell traders, if you're in a position and it's around break even or close or near the stop loss, it's a lot better to close it out and just not hold a trade into a news event. However, if you happen to be in a position prior and you've been in it for a period of time and it's already in profit and you've already took profit, then it's okay. Unless it's a major news event, then I'm just like, it doesn't matter really. you could be 100 points in profit. If it's a non-farm payroll or a CPI, just get out, right? If it's a minor news event, or obviously you can't plan for an unexpected one, but yeah, it was a good example on Friday, and I'm assuming that this trader did something very similar.
Yep.
Oh, okay. No, you can be in a trade during a news event, and I don't think I've ever seen traders. If so, I would have been flagged because I obviously held a trade through something like that. Andrew A is now the troll. You're the Andrew. When your own moderator's trolling you,
You can't even mute him.
Yeah, do not sleep through CPI with 15 contracts in your live account, okay? I did it. It doesn't end well. Man.
If you're saying, hey, I can have a strategy that I can trade news, so I'll just take a 15 lot and figure it out, is that going to be considered gambling? Probably. And you probably shouldn't do that. But again, this trader, the very specific circumstance that we just talked about, I would say is reasonable, because worst case scenario in this trade, if that trader trailed their profits, stopped into profits, they had a little bit of slippage and made less money than they could have made.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to try to figure out trading news, by all means. I can't tie anybody's hands.
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, I can't speak from any of the risk managers' point of view, but I can imagine that if I'm a risk manager, this is the stuff that I look at, right? It'd be easier it's easy for a risk manager to pull up your trade report, view how you're trading as an individual, and say, okay, do we want this trader to be in a live or not, right? Is this trader going to be flagged? And you look at it, and yeah, we are, Coach Jay and I, we've spent 2 minutes looking at this trade report, and we've seen that this trader was, had a trade on. We was able to see that this trade was in profit going into the news compared to the other trader, right? Where we were able to see like, okay, those 2 micros was in and out like in 5 seconds. So the risk managers can see everything and is able to make those decisions on a case-by-case basis. It's just one of the reasons why I love Topstep. I talk to the risk team, not daily, but I would say weekly on some aspects, just talking about, market volatility, talking about risk rewards, talking about my stop loss. And I know a lot of our live traders are always talking with them.
I had a question about targets for this gold trade. For me, it's 29.50. Why is it so high? I was looking for a 2-to-1 risk reward on my original entry, where I was risking 10 points to make 20. So it's up here. Do we get there? Probably not before we get off the stream. That would be pretty awesome if we did. But just going to trail as it goes, but ultimate target is 29.50.
Okay, I got it. That makes sense to me. Trader says, how do you get the DOM like that? How many? Yeah, the DOM on your chart looks a lot bigger than mine.
Does it?
Yeah, I think it's just perspective. And like the size of the browser. Yeah. Hey, I'll show you guys what I do, right? If we switch it to my charts, you see this? I can pull up the DOM for you. Here it is. What I like to do is up here on the top right-hand side, there's this little thing. This is Google Chrome. You could zoom in, right? You could zoom in and you could zoom out, depending on how you want to view the DOM and how, like, the size of it. That's what I've tendency to. Now I can't even remember what it was at. I don't know. So everyone likes their platform just a little bit different. Get used to it.
I'm seeing some absorption of these buyers. I wouldn't be surprised at gold pulling back all the way here. Thinking about adding to this trade if I don't get stopped out here, Dakota. If it holds the low of this range right here, I wouldn't mind adding 2 more contracts on. It's not going to add a whole lot, right? I'd probably be risking another $8. right? I'd be giving back $8 of profit, but if this holds,
And it's micros too, so I like
yep,
that you're trading
exactly.
micros.
Let's see if the low of this range holds. I'm gonna add the 2 there.
Mm-hmm. All right. Adding to a winner right next up against your stop loss. You're not going to move your stop loss, right? You're just going to.
No, stop loss is gonna stay
Okay.
the same, so I'm giving back $8 of profit if it stops me out.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Tushar says, what time frame do I look at 3-bar reversals? Typically the 5 minute or higher. It's all personal preference. You almost got that ad, Coach Jay.
Yeah, now I don't want it anymore.
And I see it bouncing.
I don't want it anymore. It's okay. They can keep it.
Hey, good trade doesn't. Sometimes the market doesn't allow you to add on
Right.
good pricing. Let's take a pull up the gold. I see that. And you got in what? When did you get in? And what made you get in?
29.30. 29.30. So I'll take a look. And there's actually a good question here from Young Shy. When is it best to add to a winner? The way I like to think about adding to winners is, would I take the trade if I wasn't already in a position? And can I manage the risk from there, right? You notice I said I would add here, but my risk wasn't going to be, right? This would be, if I'm adding here, it's for a breakout trade, completely different strategy than the trade that I initially got in on. So if I wasn't already in a trade, would I take it? And where does that risk go? It would go exactly where it is right now, right? Where I'm saying I'm adding here, but this market needs to break out now, or I don't like the trade. Why I originally got in this one, we have this 30-minute opening range here. We had VWAP leaving the range and just got in the flow of the market. I got in a little bit early where that VWAP didn't actually leave the range yet. So I was preempting the trade, but higher time frame gold is in an uptrend, so I wanted to be in the trade.
Look at it going higher now. Good trade. Good trade. That was the trade of the night, right? I'm not seeing any of these other markets move too much. I mean, crude oil sold off just a little bit. Switch to my charts. Oh. Let me get mine back to where it was. There we go. Nikkei's been going. Nikkei's been rallying pretty well. There's probably a trade. I can see maybe a breakout trade. I don't want to be in the Nikkei tonight. Nasdaq, just a whole lot of nothing. I'm expecting a whole lot of nothing. Do we have news tomorrow? Do we have anything going on tomorrow? Is it PPI?
PPI tomorrow and
okay.
jobless claims because it's Thursday.
Okay. Well, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, I expect the market to consolidate a little bit, kind of like last night. We got CPI today, or CPI yesterday technically during the New York session, and PPI today during the New York session, depending on where you're at in the round. I always have to get used to it. I've started to get used to it. When I say today, I mean Thursday's price action. I mean, today is now officially Thursday when it comes to these markets. Yep. When it comes to this price action, it's Thursday. This is the Asian market. We're trading the Asian market. So yes, this is what we're looking at right now. Going into tonight, tomorrow is the PPI. And then after that, not really anything else, right? We have not much on Friday.
Nope, pretty quiet. Perfect time for unplanned news, right?
It's Friday, man.
Drop the T word.
Don't. Yeah, tariff. It's been the trigger word. I think they haven't. The market's starting to get used to it. I think the market's reacting a lot less to when politicians say tariffs than they were when they first started at the beginning of the year.
Yep. Yeah. Food culture. I know I'm long gold, but do you see the double top? Yeah, 100%, right? I think when I was talking about this trade, I want to see a 30-minute candle close above 36. We have about 10 minutes left on here, but exactly why I trailed, right? Because this could definitely just reject here and come all the way back down. Market could drop 1,000 points. I don't care. I'll take my profit where it is.
You're in the money.
Yep.
I love Zero asking all of
The basketball questions. Yeah.
yeah. You should know that one, Coach J.
That's too easy. Come on, Zoro. The Cavs.
Right out of high school. Not anymore. Traders don't come right out of high school like they used to.
So, got any questions in the chat we didn't get to?
I'm going through some of them. What's the recommended risk trade on a 50K account? My answer is going to be it depends. It depends on what your process is. It depends on what time frame you're trading. General rule of thumb is just micros, right? You typically don't want to risk more than $100 a trade. I would say on a 50K account, maybe $200 a trade is on the high end. It depends.
Yeah, per trade. So what is it? 50K account is $2,000 drawdown. So
I believe so.
I would say 10%. Same suggestion I gave to my VIPs with the $3,000 drawdown in a 100K account. 10% should be your max loss limit for the day, and that's going to sound very restrictive, but that means you should be trading 1 or 2 micros, and it just makes sense for the account size that you're trading, right? 3 micros here. I'm up $150. With really no stress in this trade, right? Where I really can just focus on the process. So on a per trade basis, it depends on how many trades can you take with that fit your process and don't exceed that $200 daily loss limit. Maybe $50 a trade with 1 or 2 micros.
Yeah, I like it. Here's that trade. The trader on my VIP that had that trade going into Friday, right? That Friday news. Here it is. He just sent me this screenshot, kind of explaining it a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of what it looks like, where the trader was able to get into a position, right? Shorted 3 micros and added to the short 2, closed out most of the position right before the news event. And so, yeah, that's exactly what you made the assumption, Coach J. And there's the description, right? So I played the probabilities. I gave myself 30 points room on a stop loss. Yeah, so I like that. That's a beautiful thing where you, Coach J, was able to go through and analyze the trading statistics and basically point it out to a T, right? That's
yeah.
I love that. That's a thing of beauty.
It's pretty cool to see. Travis Utter, the order flow videos. Look at Cami Capital on YouTube. Cami was just here. He's one of our partners with Topstep. So look up Cami Capital's order flow videos. They're pretty good stuff.
Yeah, and I think I ask this question every time. Is he New Zealand or Australia?
It's a great question.
I don't know why I think
I think it's New Zealand.
I have a close friend in New Zealand, but I also have a friend in Australia, and I can't remember which one, where he's out of. New Zealand? Okay. Yeah, he's been with us for a while. He's a really great trader. Obviously, we just reviewed his statistics, and probably one of the best. Gloria.
Talking about LeBron's mom now. I guess the basketball stats got out of it. So here's why I wanted to add to that trade. And it actually gave me another opportunity too, right? This is the highest volume. This candle right here on a 3-minute chart, this is the highest volume that we've seen. And if you can see on my charts, I anchored view up there and it's flat, which tells me range bound market. So buying at the extremes of the range. That's why I wanted to buy there. I guess I should have left my order because it was the right decision, but the market's kind of holding this volume right now.
Yeah, it's bouncing. It's going up again.
Yep.
Great trade. Here we go into these 30s. Right at the end of, we still have 5 minutes. We watch this trade. So is this a trade that you're going to leave on overnight with a stop loss, or what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'll probably leave this one on. Again, I like ideally. So what I would be looking for right now, let's get a close above 36 on this 30-minute candle, and then I would actually any closes outside of above 37, right, on a 3-minute candle, then I'll take my exit and go to 50% of this high volume. and then just leave the target where it is. I guess I could set a trailing stop too, but I don't really like automatic trails. Yeah, I think if this pushes above 37, I'm okay putting my stop at 35 and then just letting it work.
Yeah, new session highs here in gold. And I say session, I mean this to start this price action tonight. Even
Yep.
for the day, right? We broke this. Gold has now broke through the New York session high as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep going. Keep
Yeah.
going.
That's
You ever use trailing stops, Dakota?
yeah. Well, yeah, I do. If I'm in multiple contracts, like 5 or 3, and I close some off, and then I leave a runner on. Whenever I leave a runner, I'll trail it.
Auto trails or you manual trail all the time?
No, it's all manual. I have a hard time
Yeah,
with
same.
anything auto. It's just a me thing. Trust issues with technology.
Same here. Same here.
Yeah, it's my money. I'm not gonna trust technology. I mean, it's pure personal opinions. I sound old. I sound like my grandpa. Oh man.
Could you show us how to set a trailing stop? Sure. So you need to use the orders tab, this thing, this component, and you're going to set your order type to trailing stop. You need to say how many ticks you want to trail. So I'd say 20 ticks. Actually, let's just do this. Let's do 100 ticks. And how many contracts, right? So I'm in 3. Let's say I only want to trail 2 of them. So I'm going to trail 2 and leave 1 where it is. And make this bigger so we can actually see it. And here we go. So now my trailing order is down here. As the market moves up, it'll go with it, but you have to do it on the orders tab.
Okay.
But I don't, like Dakota said, I don't use those. I don't trust them.
Boomers, some boomers here.
Right.
You don't trust the technology. I mean, there's always something to it, right? The more you practice something, the more you can trust it. So maybe it's just me and the lack of actually doing it and practicing it. So I know some good traders that can do it as well. Oh man, I can't even remember his name. I was gonna give him a shout out, but man, he uses. I'm talking about a programmer. He's an amazing programmer, and he programs all of his stuff. And this is an older guy, a while ago too.
Thought you were going to say Coach Robert.
No, I'm sure. Does Coach Robert use auto trails?
He does, yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes for some of his strategies, he does.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's a beautiful example right there, right? Like Coach Robert. You have him here
Right.
with us, so if you have any questions, you could just hop in and ask him. And if you see him on TopstepTV, ask him. Join. He's on Discord too. He's coach of a VIP team as well, of that one team. He's the coach, that one guy in that one team. I gotta give him crap, Coach Jay. He did that to
Yeah,
me.
of course.
I know it was on accident, but I always have to tease you guys and other.
It's a
coaches.
competition, friendly competition between
Friendly
coaches.
competition.
We want to see all the traders do well.
Yeah, that one coach. I was on that one team. When's the next VIP season? I believe they're already starting the scouting process, right?
Yep.
So tune on Topstep TV during the day show, and they're always giving out details. Always.
I think Danielle said
always.
April.
April.
They'll start with the forms again.
Coach Jay, you know what we need to do?
What's that?
I've made myself a promise. I want to compare and see how the traders react on seeing if we could get to the 150,000 subscribers on the Topstep TV YouTube and see how many likes I could possibly get. I am trying to see how many likes I can get this week for slow markets, and I want to compare it to how, what's it look like if I ask for them versus what's it look like if I don't, and really trying to get and help Topstep get over the 150,000 subscribers. So I know we have a lot of traders here that are already subscribed, but I don't know the percentage. There's always new traders coming from around the world. So I'm really asked for it yesterday, and I'm going to ask for it again.
There goes Danielle in the chat. As soon as you mentioned the likes, Danielle's in the chat. Danielle, great to see you. Um, thanks for joining us here.
Yeah.
Danielle's always here.
She's been
Love
in
to
here a
see
lot more. I need to get her back on air one of these nights.
For sure.
We've always had some great back and forth.
Maybe when we get to 150K. I don't know. And again, Dakota and I don't control. Well, I don't know about Dakota. I don't control anything. So whatever happens at 150K, I'm not sure. I've just heard people mention that when we get to 150K, our viewers are going to be happy. You can make your own assumptions about what happiness means for you, but we'll be happy because we hit 150K.
If we could get, well, I don't know. I see the YouTubers put like goals on there and subscriber goals. So the subscriber goal is 150. What would be a good time frame for 150,000?
What are we at? 145 right now. We need 5,000. I think we have 1,200 viewers here. Everybody here could make 3 fake email addresses and subscribe. We could be there tomorrow. What do you mean?
Coach Jay, come on. They're gonna kick. Maybe we do a like goal. Maybe we could do the like one, right? Where they do the likes and do the hey, if we get to so many likes, let me see if we get, what are we at right now tonight? 300. If we get to 1,000, would Danielle join us? She'll probably do
1,000
it off
likes
the subs.
tonight.
I think she'll do it off the subscriptions.
I think the subs is a good way to do it.
Okay, so if we get to 150 by what date? What date? It has to be reasonable. Today's the 12th.
Danielle said next week, maybe end of February.
Oh, we
got 2 weeks
to that sooner. We could get that. So we could nail that one. Next Friday. Let's do next Friday. I bet we could get to 150 by next Friday.
I think so.
Yeah, why not?
Danielle said, "What are you promising right now?" That's why you, Dakota. This is your show.
We're saying if we get to 150 subscribers, you would come on the show with us, right, Danielle? By next Friday? That's my offer. That pretty please.
She said sure. Awesome. Sure. Let's do it.
I think the fact that she's questioning what I'm offering makes her she has sometimes she hops on at the worst timing.
Yeah.
What I'm
Can't
saying.
just say yes.
Yes. All right. There we go. 150 by next Friday. She'll join me for slow markets. We'll have to do it on a Wednesday. She said maybe me and have you on, Coach Jay, and have I don't know what we'd talk about the markets. She watches the markets a lot, and maybe we could get a sneak peek at something. I'm sure there's always something that.
Oh, if Danielle's coming on the show, she's it'll be good.
Yeah. I know she the powers that be behind the scenes. We could get a sneak peek maybe.
Good stuff.
All right, Coach Jay. Well, that's all I have. You're still in this gold trade, correct?
Still in it. It's come back down to that add entry a couple of times now, but I'm done managing this trade. We'll let it be here, and it'll stop me out at 34s or 50s.
Okay. Well, I don't have anything else. It's slow markets. Remember, tomorrow we do have PPI. It is Thursday's price action. Trading is optional. Thank you, Coach Jay, for joining me. And
always a good time, man.
Yeah, it always is. No matter what we're talking about, basketball, football, golf, markets, your ultimatum, chick flick. Is it a chick flick or is it just a regular?
It's a great show.
It's a great
just
show.
Leave it at that. It's a great show.
Danielle, Coach Jay loves Ultimatum. I don't know if you were here.
I'm sure Danielle has watched it.
He binge watches it every night. That motivates him to trade. All right, I'm making you on, man. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you after night. Tomorrow night. Take care.